Well, he's been in the saddle in Bayelsa for 6 years now and making giant strides. But what and who have been those behind it? Let's now bring in Governor of Bayelsa State, Dickson, to talk more about his strides in the state. Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Thank you very much, Ikechukwu, for having me and the great job you guys are doing here at TVC.
Well, we're very happy to have you here too. Well, you've been in governance in Bayelsa for about 6 years now, and we have been hearing the giant strides we have been seeing as well. Our reporter, Vitami George, in your state has been reporting on your activities. Can you tell us more about these strides?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for having me, and I thank you also and the several others like you are doing a great job, not just here in TVC, but across our country, and who wish us well. I thank you all and appreciate all your good wishes and support and encouragement and prayers. The past 6 years has been, do I say, challenging, exciting. Now, looking back, 6 years, exciting, but also fulfilling. Even where we are, I have about 2 more years to round up my tenure, God willing. But it's been exciting because it's a wonderful opportunity to make a difference, as we are striving to do by the day. Challenging because, I mean, we've had to confront mindsets, we have to confront financial difficulties, we have to confront a difficult, almost insurmountable terrain to bring about development. We have to confront challenges of underdevelopment that have, I mean, accumulated years of underdevelopment. And so all of this has made it very, as I said, challenging, exciting. But now, 6 years down the line, looking back at the very visible transformation that is going on in Bayelsa, I will continue to go on, is now fulfilling. But we are still not done. Still a lot we have to do, a lot that is still going to happen and is happening. Going to consolidate on the frontiers of stability, of security, advance the course of development, and consolidate on all that we have started so that by the next, whoever comes over, will now build on the solid foundation, that I and my team are working hard to lay.
All right. Well, we've seen the strides that you have made in the education sector, of course, building the African University and the rest of it. You want to tell us more about your strides in that sector and your motivation as well to ensure that the education standard that has become pejorative over the years is further raised?
Well, thank you, Ikechukwu. The way I see it, and I was very clear about it from inception, and that was why in my inaugural address, I wasted no time in declaring a state of emergency in education. Yeah. Quite frankly, that's what we all need in this country. Because that's the cornerstone of any meaningful development. As I always say, every other kind of development in the end comes down to brick and mortar. And over the years, you will have wear and tear. And it will call for repairs and so on and so forth. The only investment that does not need repairs over the years, the only investment that does not deteriorate in value, the only investment, in fact, that has a capacity to replenish itself down the line from generation to generation, the only investment that you can use as a tool for changing a society is education, investment in education. I was very clear about it, very, very clear about it. And I declared an emergency in education. Followed it up by now almost investment of over 70 billion into the educational sector. What you mentioned about the University of Africa is just one of the several initiatives taken at a very difficult moment, difficult pushback politically, and other factors in the state, and then also at a time of an unprecedented recession in our country that, you know, affected Bayelsa perhaps much more than most other states because it's a new state. I mean, they just carved out the least developed parts of Old River State to Bayelsa and called it Bayelsa. We are grateful for that, but that was where it ended. And so in the last 20 years of Bayelsa, it's been a story of moving from underdevelopment, gross underdevelopment and neglect to where we are now. So started to build schools. There was no single boarding school in my state when we took over. I mean, that is not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. So we've been building schools. Now we have several, 15 and over. We are targeting even 25 model, 25 constituency boarding schools. And you have boarding schools now with a capacity for between 400 to 600 in every local government area already functioning now. In some local governments, you have much more than that. And this is not to talk about investments in healthcare, where you have wonderful healthcare facilities, not only at the state level, that you can say at tertiary.
And like the one you brought in the former President Obasanjo to inaugurate.
Yes. And he commissioned it and said he's coming to visit us to do his medicals. We are hoping to receive him very soon. A lot of people are coming to Bayelsa now for their regular medical checks. We have a diagnostic center, you have a specialist hospital, fully built and equipped to the international standards. And we have now referral hospitals in every local government area. And we're even going beyond that. By December, I've directed the health team to make sure that we have in every political ward headquarters, you have in every political ward a functional health center with staff accommodation for doctors and the nurses and the other healthcare workers. And we have rolled out one of the most successful health insurance programs in the state, targeting to cover between 300,000 to 500,000 human beings. And already they have close to 100,000 or more covered. You know, the state allocates 5% of our IGR to healthcare, to support the health insurance, and we also allocate 5% to support the education development fund that we created, all of this by law. So these are all institutionalized policies. We are not only building structures which are visible, we are also developing policies. And we are backing these policies up by legislation, thereby
enduring policies.
Creating enduring policies that are backed up. And I believe that the next governor who comes after me will build on all of this and continue to expand. The University of Africa is one. We are very passionate about that. Because when you have, now we have, it's a compulsory, more or less, boarding system in my state, funded by the state. So we're not just talking of supplying books and writing materials and desks and sandals and so on. We are going beyond that in Bayelsa because that is an emergency for us. Manpower development is the greatest emergency facing my people. And I'm very clear about that. So,
and that's what the richest man in the world made reference to the other day.
Investing in education, investing in healthcare as we are doing, investing in security. That is what Bill Gates meant when he said, invest more in the people. That's exactly what we're doing.
All right. We also realized that you brought in young people into your government. Was this born out of the not too young to run bill, or out of your passion for young people to ensure that the younger generation of leaders take over from the older generation of leaders?
Well, I appreciate the efforts of those who are behind the not too young to run bill. Well, that's their understanding of how to use legislation to spur, young people to get involved in the system. But I believe that there are already young people in the system. I'm not also an old man yet, and I'm not in a hurry to get there. But I think that the young people of this country actually need to be deliberately brought in, deliberately involved. In Bayelsa, part of the paradigm shift that I'm initiating, particularly in this last lap, is to see how we expose younger people to the challenges of political service and leadership. Because for those of us who have been in the trenches for some time, we can see the difference clearly between those who take time to grow, who enjoy the privilege of mentorship over the years, to rise from one position to the other, learning their way down the ladder, up the ladder, making their mistakes and learning. That opportunity of mentorship has to be created.
And that is reminiscent of what Plato said, that leadership is deliberate.
Yeah, yes. And that's what we're doing. So we're creating a lot of opportunities for younger people, and I hope to even do much more, many of them, because whether you like it or not, these are the leaders of tomorrow. And if they are leaders of tomorrow, then the sooner you realize that and bring them in and prepare them so that they can have a first-hand experience as to the challenges of political service, the better for us. That's what we are doing in Bayelsa.
All right. His Excellency Sirake Dickson, Governor, Bayelsa State, we must thank you very much indeed for coming to share your thoughts with us on your developmental strides in Bayelsa. And we hope that you have more powers to your elbow to continue to do more for the people of your state.
Thank you very much, Ikechukwu, for having me, and thank you for you and your colleagues for the great job you're all doing in TVC.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.